Small business owners need a number of things in addition to their own commitment and drive, which is obviously very important to their success. But we can help fill the gap that the private sector, help the private sector fill that gap. One thing they definitely need, one thing all companies need is capital. I often joke that's the air a company breathes, is capital or liquidity. We are very important in helping the private sector get capital to those areas. Last fiscal year, more than a third of our small business guaranteed loans were to areas of our country where we see that higher poverty and higher unemployment, those distressed markets. This is a vital contribution. We want to expand the important presence that we have in those underserved markets, and we're driving that through many initiatives at the agency right now. In addition to lending initiatives, we're partnering with the Initiative for a Competitive Intercity. Many of you know it. It was founded by Michael Porter a number of years to support growth companies in the intercity. Well, we've partnered with them. We're launching something called the SBA Emerging 200. We're going to inner cities. We're finding the growth opportunities there. We're taking those companies and we're giving them a super dose of training, technical assistance, networking support, and introduction to venture capital. We just launched a pilot in Harlem with Operation Hope to bring counselors to that center to help businesses and budding entrepreneurs in the inner city of New York, and we hope we can expand that to other areas of our country. It's also not simply an issue of geographic markets where we find a differentiated presence in our programs. A collection of studies that we commissioned from the Urban Institute, which many of you know, it's a nonpartisan think tank here in Washington, shows just how effective we are in reaching people who are not as likely to get money through conventional lending. That study compared our overall lending to the broader commercial lending sector, and it found that our portfolio was far from a cross-section of the rest of the agency. In fact, it showed that our loans are much more likely to go to startup companies, to go to women, and to go to minorities. Specifically, close to 23% of our guaranteed loan dollars go to startups, compared to 6% for the overall conventional loan sector. More than 16% of our loan dollars go to women-owned businesses, compared to 4% for conventional loan dollars. And the difference is even more pronounced when we look at minority-owned businesses, where more than 28% of SBA guaranteed loan dollars go to minority-owned businesses, compared with 5% for conventional small business loans. That means that our dollars are more than 5 times as likely to go to those businesses. So enabling private sector capital to reach these geographic markets and these other markets is absolutely central to our mission, and we are clearly having a differentiated impact on those markets relative to the conventional sector. So our vision for the SBA, once again, is to drive these reforms that significantly raise the level of operational excellence at SBA, because that is essential in reaching and serving small businesses effectively in our country, and to ensure that we're doing everything that we can to be a driver of sustainable economic change in underserved markets in our country. Now, we've launched, and in many cases we've completed, a number of major initiatives aligned with that vision. We've put in place a disciplined management framework to ensure that we get there, and we've communicated the vision extensively, internally and externally, to make sure people understand where we're going, but very importantly, to make sure that our employee base is engaged in it. So 2008 will be very much about executing this vision, as well as engaging wherever we can on national policy issues that affect the economic and regulatory environment for small businesses. Now, for a minute, I'd just like to give you some examples. Let me just drill down a bit into some examples in a few of our program areas to give you a sense of the kind of things we're doing. The overhaul of our disaster operation is a good example of how we've addressed a very urgent issue and made structural changes to ensure that the agency won't falter the next time we're faced with a mega catastrophic event. You know, back then, when we first came in late 2006, we committed thousands of man-hours to the problem. We completely re-engineered how we make disaster loans to make it quicker, easier, and more helpful.